Hi everyone, I hope you're good guys and welcome for a new video. So usually to promote my EP, I like to show you tips inside Ableton or how I create this kind of stuff. But for my last EP, most of the leads come from the Minibrute because this was the period I just bought it, and so I was experimenting a lot with it, and so I create 3 tracks out of 4. The main lead was created with the Minibrute, so I'm gonna show you how I create this lead. And the interesting is I use the internal sequencer as well, and I'm gonna show you how I create them from scratch. So like this you can get inspired, maybe make your own from it. And after I will show you as well 2 of the lead from my Superbrute track as well, which again I created very soon after I get the Minibrute to us. And so we're gonna dig into today 5 parts of kind of techno lead sound with the Minibrute 2S. So first let's start with my track Reset. This is the basic patch. As you can see, I'm just gonna put like this. I'm just gonna start for this patch. Basically I use the IDSR envelope to trigger the amplitude envelope. So the one which is modulating the filter as well is modulating the amplitude. So this one is basically we doesn't need it. So now if I bring, we have something like this. Okay, right. So now we need to focus on the melody. So I press the record, and now we have the step sequencer, and you need to write down the melody. So the melody goes like this. The first note is F4. All right. Then you have the second note, which is F4 again. Then you don't have nothing. Then you have F sharp 5. Then you have F5. And then the last one you have C6. Alright, once you do that, just select the last step at number 6. And now if I play, it sounds already a little bit familiar. So I didn't use the sawtooth for this one. I used the pulse width, and the cool thing here is modulating the pulse width. It's really what's gonna give the character of the sound. So I'm gonna bring this up, bring the pulse width modulation. So far it doesn't really hear nothing, but the most I'm gonna bring the rate, and you're gonna hear how it gives character to. And now it starts to sound interesting. Alright, so another thing I've done, this is why I was experimenting, I bring down the tune, which is, and this is just like, I could have done it probably with the sequencer, but I've done it with that and it was sounding better. This one was actually a bit more up. And now I'm just gonna bring the attack up. Maybe something like this. Alright, now the only thing we need is to kind of get this plucky effect. So I'm gonna bring down the filter. And you get your sound. And then when I was doing my performance live, I was playing with that, and you can play with that. And you get this nice effect. So now I'm gonna add some effects. I will put the link of the rack and it will appear the effect I'm using. And yeah, that's pretty much how I create this patch. And then during my live performance, what I like it to do is remove some note, add some other. But I was doing it manually, but you can kind of create two independent sequences and maybe chain them with the sequencer inside. That's good thing as well to dig into it. Alright, that's it for the first one. Let's move into the next one and let's reset everything. Alright, so I've reset everything and now we're gonna focus on the lead in my regain track, which is kind of a brassy, horny kind of sound. And so again, start from scratch. We're gonna start with the melody. So again, I use the internal sequencer, and so record, first step, it's C2. Second step, it's MT. Third step is F0. Maybe I could play actually in the same time. F0. Fourth is MT. And then fifth, you have F sharp 2. And then sixth, you have C2. 7 MT, and 8 we have B1. Alright, that's it for the melody. So for this one, in terms of sound, I use again, there is two things. The first thing is I use the square, I use the sawtooth, but I use the square as well. And it's modulating as well the pulse width, but in a different way. So let me show you. I'm gonna bring just this, bring the pulse width at the maximum, and be the pulse width modulation at the maximum. What I've done is I bring the sawtooth up, and you can hear it's sounding like, because of the LFO, it's not always playing the same, and it's basically it's. You can hear how this note is way much more lower and is going up. And that's gonna give a nice variation to your tone. So then what I've done, I've added a little bit of ultra saw. Just subtle, I'm gonna bring back now. And one thing which is important, I use frequency modulation, and again, and it's really about how you're gonna, the amount is very subtle, so you always have to be very careful how you handle the things, but you're gonna, and you can hear, it's very subtle, but, and then you can bring the oscillator too. And you start to get pretty close already. So now it's missing obviously this kind of brassy effect. And the best way to do that is obviously to modulate with the filter and the amplitude envelope. So here first what I'm gonna do is bring the attack up a little, bring the filter down, add a filter modulation. Obviously all the envelope here is down, so it doesn't affect, but then when I bring up the decay a little bit, sustain down, a bit of reverb maybe, and maybe I can play with the reverb, the release, and that's something I've done as well. So obviously now it's dry, so you cannot really hear properly, but I'm gonna bring the effect. And now, so release is actually as well very important, the release and the decay for both. Now So obviously the effect was not exactly the same, but we get pretty close to the original track. So yeah, really cool things to do. It's really play with the frequency modulation and the tune effect, and even play with the wave shape, the waveform, and you get a really different kind of tone. And just when I say subtle, it's very subtle. You're gonna see there is another patch where it's really hard to even to go back to the original preset, because this was like just very fine tuning. And but you can a bit of resonance, and obviously bring a new melody. And so yeah, that's why I love the Minibrute too, because it's really powerful. You can really quickly change the, even if I show you a preset, it's a preset of mine that I use, but you can see how quickly you can change and make it your own. So yeah, let's jump into the next patch. Alright, so then we go into my track Dead End and the main lead. This one I haven't sequenced it with the Minibrute 2S sequencer. It was sequenced in Ableton, so it's gonna appear right in the script. So here you have the melody. You can see it's go like A, G, D, D, A. I mean, I was just sequencing with Ableton and trying things. But yeah, that's the note of the melody. And so when I press play, and so I'm gonna bring a bit this, and as usual to start. So for this patch, I use the AD envelope to modulate the filter as well. So I'm gonna just do it right here. All right. So I'm bringing back, and I use the square waveform. And you can hear in the original this kind of this fluty effect is because of the attack. So I'm gonna add a little bit of attack. So it's hard to hear, but I'm gonna bring the cutoff down, and with the envelope. So now you have something blocky, and I'm gonna bring up the attack, and you're gonna start to hear this fluty effect. Alright, then for the part I'm just gonna add a bit of pulse width. So this is up to your taste. I'm gonna keep like this, add a bit of noise. And one of the things with this patch is you bring a second oscillator and you kind of detune from it. So, but I don't want this kind of effect like on the previous lead. I want something more like. So something which is more musical, let's say. So it's probably +5 or +7. I don't know. I cannot really see here, but it's around there, I guess. So one thing you can do is maybe add a bit of FM modulation. So here, the second oscillator, you're gonna hear it like detuned from the first one, but it's gonna as well modulate the frequency modulation, which is gonna give. So again, it depends if you want a subtle effect or if you are more looking like for something more pronounced. So I'm gonna go around here because it's just when I start to hear the effect, so I stop. And yeah, I'm gonna bring the effect and maybe you will hear it better. So now with the effect, again, it's the same effect than the previous one. I didn't even change nothing. In the original track was a different effect chain, but it's just for the sake of the example. And yeah, so again, you can change the frequency modulation a bit more, you can add some sawtooth maybe. It adds this extra harmonic. Maybe you can modulate the pulse width, as well. And yeah, that's it for the lead. Alright, so next lead is the one from my track Superbrute, which was not released on Planet Rhythm, but was released on Xery, and I made the live performance. I will put the link in the description, and it appears in the corner as well, where I play as well with the Minibrute. And there is two mainly. There is one more like a kind of bassy kind of lead. It's not really bassy, but and one is more like a key lead. So we're gonna first look into the bassy one. First, let's start with the melody. So record mode, first you need to transpose because there is some lower notes. So transpose, I need to transpose 2 octaves down. I'm gonna tell you why, because the first note is B -1, so that's why up. Alright. Second note is empty. Third note, it's A sharp 0. Fourth note empty. Fifth note, it's B 0. Alright. Sixth note, it's C 0. Okay. Seventh note empty, and 8, it's A sharp 0. Alright, and the last step is 9. So last step is 9. I forgot to. And that's what we got. So for this one, I use a triangle, and a couple of things interesting I've done. I had some first FM modulation again, and then I'm gonna use oscillator 2, and I'm gonna bring it to sine wave, and I'm gonna bring it up. So you don't hear it much, but and then you can cut it a bit more with the FM modulation. So that's really depend how much of the effect you want. Remember, play with 2 together, it's work well. And then finally, the thing which is kind of the main characteristic is to use a bandpass filter and a bit of envelope, obviously. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna patch the output of the AD to the filter one. So like this one is controlling the filter as well. And I'm gonna bring a bit of resonance. So then after it's up to your taste. So obviously it sounds very flat, but when I add effect, the trick is because you use a bandpass and I'm gonna modulate the filter with the delay and the reverb, is get this nice effect. So I don't remember the exact pitch of the track, but again you can play. Maybe different waveform. So always find the sweet spot. So you get this kind of bassy when you go down, but obviously because it's the bandpass, when you go up after you lose this bassy sound. So it's You can play with the rhythm now. Maybe a bit of. You can use the metalizer. Or what you can do is modulate maybe the filter with random LFO maybe. Let's do something like this, and let's just text. Yeah, actually it's up like this, and this way. And yeah, you can really explore more and like modulate more stuff with the LFO, but yeah, that's basically without this how I create. So it was a different pitch. But yeah, it was something like this. Alright, and let's jump now into the last one. Alright, and last patch. So this time the main lead from the Synth track, but the one in the high frequency. So this lead is remind me why I love and hate hardware in the same times. I love it because it's really nice. You can touch, it's analogic, and all of that is great. But the thing is, sometimes when you wanna go back to this preset, you cannot, even if you take a picture, because sometimes, even for this one I took a picture, but for this one it's really hard to nail exactly how it was at the original, because there is a very fine tuning again between the FM modulation and the tune here from Oscillator 2. I've tried already 2 or 3 times before to record this one, and I struggled to come close, so yeah, but let's dig into it. So first, again, the melody, I'm just gonna put a bit to have some sound, and I'm gonna press play. This time I'm not forgetting. And okay, so we've got our first note. I'll press record. First note is G sharp 3. Okay. Second, we don't have nothing. Third note, we have G3. Okay. Then we have nothing. G sharp 3 again. And then we have G4. Now you start to hear. And then we have nothing. So now it sounds weird because obviously you need to shorten the sequence. So here, for this one, the AD envelope, as you can see, is in ones, but for this track I put it in loop because later I can do this effect that I like, which is nice to add variation to the track. And there is a bit of attack as well. And it's really nice because this is really nice because you can really play with both, and you can play live and add variation, which is a different variation than just the cutoff as usual. So yeah. Okay, a bit of cutoff. Yeah, one thing annoying is still playing then, but letting into the sound, because it's this one you're gonna see it's a triangle with a bit of metalizer around there, and then again you have FM. So again, it's about to find the sweet spot, and again, so both in the sawtooth and all, and then you have to fine tune and find the pitch. Let me bring this one down actually, but yeah, this one I think is not that bad. And one thing I was doing as well live, you can add the triangle, the sawtooth, sorry. Maybe a bit of noise. And let's see with some effect. So yeah, really hard to come close to the original. I could spend even more 5 minutes just trying. So the patch is still interesting like this, but it's not exactly as the original, and yeah, I really struggle to get very close to the original, even though I'm the one who created the patch with this one. But yeah, again, it's great because like this you can see how you can make your own, like maybe by modifying a bit more the frequency modulation. You can again add LFO. Yeah, you can really. Maybe anyway, alright, I hope you liked the video, guys. If you want, I can do more series where I explain more patch. I've took picture of couple of patch, interesting patch that I've made, and I can do exactly the same kind of video, like I pick up 5 good patch and I show you how I create them. And so yeah, let me know in the comment if you want. And thank you very much for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye bye. Don't forget to like and subscribe.